Update. My boss told me I was fired as an April Fool's joke. It backfired spectacularly. Original post. My boss told me I was fired as soon as I got to work. I laughed and walked off. I spent the next 2 hours shutting down my station and packing my stuff. I even destroyed my client list. Mine was the largest in the branch. When I got home about 3 hours later, he called me. Boss. Hey Z, where you at? I can't find you in the office. Me. You fired me. Why the heck would I be at work? Boss. It's April Fool's. It was a joke. Get back in here. Me. No. You clearly said I am fired. I'll be taking unemployment for a few months and filing a complaint with HR. He lost his mind, and I just hung up on him. It's not freaking funny, and I'm taking a vacation and riding the wrongful termination train. He's called me 10 times, and I think HR is calling me now. Now for the top comments before reading the update. And on that day, the boss learned what it truly means to be the April Fool. It was at that moment he realized he was the biggest fool of all. Enjoy your unexpected vacation. I sincerely hope between HR and whatever lawyer you hire, you get a nice fat payout and a better work environment in the future. A nice side bonus to this is that your boss is probably going to get mad amounts of grief from his bosses and from HR as well. We're proud of you, OP. F that joke, dude. Nothing funny about that, especially when the majority of these BS jobs are at will and you can be fired for no reason. I hope that company burns. You deserve better, OP. I know it. I was looking for a reason, and he gave me one, with pay. This is why I hate April Fool's Day. It's a day when people who are not funny 364 days of the year suddenly think they're hilarious. I had a manager. It was his first attempt at managing people who would constantly joke with everyone. But once he was promoted to manager, his default response to someone making a joke at his expense was to say they were fired. Trust me, it's a joke that is not funny 365 days a year. When you actually have the power to fire someone, it's not a funny joke. A peer or someone who definitely has zero authority to do so? Maybe. That could possibly be funny under the right circumstances. A peer or someone who definitely has zero authority. Bingo! Coworkers can be sarcastic with each other, especially if it fits the environment. But that's because they possess no power, so who cares what they say? I think where it starts is, managers take for granted the fact they can ruin someone's life. They're only told to maximize profits and never reminded they're managing people. I'm in school for social work, and half the schooling is just drilling into people that authority isn't a luxury, so much as a burden. You're liable for people. Your direct actions create a real and immediate impact on their lives. And as a result, professionalism is way more important when in authority. Plus, I think for a lot of funny bosses, it's not so much trying to joke around as it is reminding themselves they're in charge and can say whatever they want. Edit. Geez, thousands of replies and hundreds of DMs. I'm gonna fall asleep soon. I have a remote meeting with HR tomorrow, and I'll also be talking with a few other people in the company too. I'll post an update soon. Stay safe. Edit 2. I'll make an update in about 4 hours. Apparently, a chunk of my colleagues walked out after he yelled at a few of them last night. Boss has been put on leave. He also sent me no less than 72 messages via text and 13 voicemails, all of which I'm too lazy to look at right now. HR and another department lead have been talking with me since 7:30 a.m. Update soon. Now for the update. Alright, so after cooling off, talking with HR, some other team leads, and a lawyer for several hours last night and today, it looks like Michael is losing his position in the company and has been put on leave. He's being replaced by somebody from my team. The other people he ran off are coming back and getting a raise for staying. I am being shuffled to another team, getting a $5.15 raise and 4 bonus weeks of vacation. Starting yesterday, I need a break, so I'm going to use them all right now, since the company's already doing some rearranging and such. The team I'm getting, I will also be secondary lead on, and it's a team I've been trying to get onto for 3 years. Much better bonuses and clientele. So I get a promotion and a raise. The new boss is far less of a hassle and a lot more laid back. She went to great effort to get me to join the team she knew I wanted to be on, both today and yesterday, and gave me a lot more than I asked for. Michael looks like he's fired from what I can tell. He has a history of issues, but he got his severance from what I heard. My coworkers from the previous team look to have collectively complained and used it as leverage for raises. I think they'll get them too. It's weird how fast this all turned around, but I think I'll be in a better place for it financially. Some of the advice I got from here helped a bit, and I wanted y'all to know that. I'll drop a few updates. I'm still doing some coordinating and stuff at the moment. Looks like I'll be taking my old client list with me and merging it with a starter client list they want to give me when I move into the new seat. Edit. I also got a performance/goals bonus I was supposedly supposed to get in February. Not sure what happened there. To cover a couple of issues in the comments, this manager has had a series of issues, and I just found out some may have been harassment claims in the past. The guy wasn't fired because of me, but because of the damage he did to the team in one day and a history of issues. Also, my employer operates at near 100% capacity and functionality 7 days a week with team overlaps. We can't shut down without problems. Keep being awesome. Great to hear everything turned out well for you and everyone else. I'm happy they took advantage of the situation and got raises. The company would take years to recover from losing a whole team. Looks like someone higher up put together the cost of rehiring, training, and experienced personnel lost due to some a-hole's idea of a joke. About time. Easier to build up than to rebuild. This is an epic failure on a boss's end, and ultimately a win for both the company and the workers, especially you. Congrats on holding your ground. I'm glad your company sounds like they dealt with the actual issues appropriately and swiftly. The company was smart, turned a crap show into an opportunity to dump that idiot, restructure, reward the team, and build loyalty. Good on them and glad it worked out so well. Good point. Now it at least looks like they were watching out for the workers. Yeah, it's probably just CYA, but it sounds like everyone wins anyway, so take it. More places need to start understanding that the workers are more important than the bosses. Next story, update. Constantly try and make my job harder? I'll make yours take even longer. Original post. I, 28 female, work in insurance billing for a few big medical facilities in my area, and one of my daily tasks is to save and download remits from a program daily. I've been at this company for a little over 3 years now, and I know how to do my job, and I do it pretty well. There is this woman, we shall call her Jane, around 51 female, who is always trying to make things hard for me or get me fired. There's a set of 4 cubicles where I, another employee, and Jane sit, and there's a printer in the other cubicle. She's lied to higher-ups about me sleeping at my desk, wasting time, playing on my phone, just overall anything she could come up with to make me look bad. She's yelled at me for turning the lights off on her, which I really didn't know she was in the office because she always runs out first at go time. I apologized to her, and she just kept trying to go off and brought it into the parking lot. I just ignored her and kept walking, but that turned into a meeting with the office manager, my direct supervisor, Jane, the other employee, and myself. Long story short, I basically told her I didn't understand where all the animosity was coming from. I'd been working here for 2.5 years at that point. She looked at me and said that I got her in trouble my second week of ever being there because she told me something about a job I had no idea about, and I asked my direct supervisor, who was training me, after she told me how to do something. And come to find out, that's why she doesn't like me. I didn't go out of my way to get her in trouble or anything. I was just confused, so I asked a question. I did apologize to her in the meeting, but she just ignored me. Fast forward a week and I'm sitting at my desk when she comes up to me to say that she accepted my apology. Then she starts printing out Bible verses and scriptures to put on her corkboard about forgiveness and how it's not for the other person, it's for yourself. She's literally the meanest person that works here, but she's got that holier-than-thou mentality. That makes her think she's the best thing since sliced bread. I think I just needed to provide a bit of context. Now on to the malicious compliance. So, I save and download remits for a few different clients every morning. Mondays are my busiest days for this because I have to pull them from different sites and a program that sends them to us electronically. Jane does billing for one of the same clients I pull remits for. She needs the remits to make deposits and whatnot. It usually takes me anywhere from 1.5 to 2.5 hours to complete this for all the clients. And because of what comes through Friday and over the weekend, she needs them first thing in the morning. Apparently, Jane has complained that I keep messing them up when I save and download them. I know I'm not. I triple-check myself. I received an email last week stating that Jane was complaining again, so I decided Monday would be the day that I did things a bit differently. I came in, and instead of doing Jane's client first, I did the other 4. Then I took my time with Jane's because I had to make sure every letter and number was 1000% correct, because she needs them to be. I didn't want her to be upset, haha. She was waiting for all the remits for a deposit, so instead of the deposit getting done at 8:30, it just didn't get done until the next day. I've been doing hers last since Monday, and I don't know if anything will be said about me taking longer, but I have to do as I'm told and make sure it's correct, right? Laughing my butt off. Now for the top comments before reading the update. A meeting with the office manager, my direct supervisor, Jane, the other employee, and myself. Long story short, I basically told her I didn't understand where all the animosity was coming from. Did you bring up her constant lying to get you in trouble? From what you wrote above, she admitted hostility, which would be an admission of her making a hostile workplace for you. That was the time to air everything out. I did. I'm usually a very quiet person, and I'm used to people just walking all over me, but I said what I wanted to say in the meeting. I did ask her why she was doing all of these things, and she just sat there the whole time like she was annoyed and didn't answer the question. What would happen if you CC'd them to your or her supervisor, so that they could see themselves that there are no errors? I usually save the files to specific drives for my coworkers, but that's a great idea to screenshot what I save to cover my own behind. Always CYA in such circumstances. Over time, this could lead to enough evidence to get her reprimanded or fired. The burden of proof is on her, not you. Please help me improve by showing me the specific mistakes that I have made. I had a similar situation, and they showed me the error. I was like, huh? That doesn't look like the kind of error I would make. Things were formatted differently from how I do them. Then I asked them to right-click the cell and show the edit history. It was them who edited it last, LOL. I nodded my head and asked if they would stop using my initials for their work. Now for the update. So, as of today, Jane is no longer an employee at my company. Since posting here, I've continued to take my time with the remits. But I ended up taking a couple of days off because I was sick. Last week and this week while working with her, she made multiple backhanded comments about me being sick and had another employee drown the office with Lysol. I got fed up and went to HR, and next thing I know, Jane is being called in there. I heard yelling, and Jane came back to her desk and packed it up to leave. She walked out and quit. I think my using the words hostile work environment and lawsuit played a part in it. I wish I could say this was because of my malicious compliance, but I'm happy with the result nonetheless. I really feel a weight has been lifted off my shoulders, and I don't even care if my workload gets a little bigger with her being gone. I wanted to say thank you to everyone who took the time to read my post and offer advice to me. I learned a lot from you all. Big hugs. Congratulations! Keep up the good work and a spine made of titanium. This is the first time in my life where sticking up for myself has gotten me somewhere, and it's a damn good feeling. That's that even though your workload is bigger, the work gets done faster and easier, making it feel smaller. People like that have a tendency to grind productivity to a halt, and taking them out of the equation makes everything smoother. Careful though, not only will you be on HR's radar, just in case it wasn't one-sided, they'll look at you, but when you easily do the extra work without her there, they'll try to pile on even more. Last story. My boss told me to stop answering my old staff's questions and helping them. Before I retired, I was a manager and programmer in a department located in the US. I would program, manage, assign projects, create timelines, answer questions that my staff had, etc. The company I worked for decided to consolidate the US and UK programming departments, and the new boss decided to have only managers in the UK oversee the programmers in the US. This meant that I was only supposed to keep programming. I had the most experience among all the US-UK programmers and no longer needed to do the management side of things, but I still got the same pay I used to. Due to a 6-hour time difference between the US and UK, that meant there were only 2 or 3 hours each day that we overlapped. This left the rest of the day for my old staff to either wait until the next day to ask their new boss or come to me and I could answer immediately. The latter made more sense so they could keep working, but eventually the UK managers complained to the US-UK boss that the US staff wasn't coming to them for help and were still coming to me, which the UK managers were having a conniption about. My boss told me to stop helping my old staff when they asked me questions and that they needed to ask their new manager. So it was time for malicious compliance. I went back to only programming, and when my old staff came and asked me questions, usually in the afternoons US time since the UK was done for the day, I told them I was told to no longer help them, and they should ask their new UK manager the next day, or send their UK boss an email with their question. I told them it was time for malicious compliance, since the US programmers knew exactly what would happen. So my old team started drowning their UK bosses with questions, problems, etc., and then had to wait until the next day or two to get answers. Within 2 weeks, the US team was missing deadlines, and the UK managers had to answer for why their team was missing deadlines. After a couple more weeks, my boss and the UK managers came to the realization that, due to the 6-hour time difference, there should be a manager in the US, which is exactly what I told them weeks ago. Finally, my boss asked me if I would like to be a manager again, and I told her I was happy just programming and didn't need the other work. They ended up giving me a raise in order to get me to go back to managing the US programmers. New manager says, according to my lack of experience, no common sense, and this spreadsheet, this is a great idea. That's the thing. She had almost as much experience as I did, and had worked for the company for longer than I did. But the company trying to consolidate all of the global programming departments into one is what totally messed things up for her. She was an excellent boss, but the problem was her bosses, the VP level. Managers never seem to realize what will happen when people need to wait for an answer to something from coworkers on the other side of the world. Senior management rarely seem to have any idea what actually happens in the companies they run. This is partly because they have made people too afraid to tell them the truth, and partly due to arrogance and incompetence. I think they tend to manage by Excel spreadsheet versus seeing how stuff actually gets done. I've been on teams that have had to integrate with other teams in Europe, Ireland mainly, the Philippines, and India. You always need to have someone in every time zone who can make managerial or stakeholder decisions. Otherwise, you'll always encounter situations where the team is suddenly dead in the water until someone wakes up in another country. Update: am I the a-hole for not letting my mother's husband come to my wedding? Original post: I, 29 female, have been with my partner, 32 male, for 7 years. We have been back and forth whether we want a big wedding or if we just elope. We have decided to have a wedding, as we are both only children, so it's our parents' only chance to see their kids get married. One of the big reasons we wanted to elope was both our families are broken and not everyone gets along. It's our day, and we really didn't want the drama that our families might bring. I sent out the invites about 2 months ago, and my mother called me as soon as she got it, to let me know I made a mistake, as her invite only had her name and a note saying strictly no +1. She flipped her lid that her husband wasn't invited, as they have been married for almost 25 years. A bit of backstory: I am an only child and he doesn't have kids. They got together when I was around 3 years old. When I was 8 years old, he started abusing me. This went on until I left home at 15 to live with my great-aunt. While I didn't tell anyone at the time due to fear of him, I have since told my great-aunt. She has been super supportive and helped me seek help for this. When my mother was made aware of this, she instantly defended him and took his word that he never touched me. While I wasn't surprised by this, appearances mean a lot to her, it hurt me deeply. We had a rocky relationship for a few years after because of this. She has made it clear that she is sticking by him and will defend him if I ever took it further. Despite this, we have come a long way to repair the relationship we once had, and I want my mother at my wedding. For the past month, I have been getting calls left, right, and center from other family members telling me how rude it is that I haven't invited the man who raised me and that he is very upset he can't walk me down the aisle. I don't know what to say to them other than it's a small wedding and we only have limited spots. I don't want to tell anyone the real reason as it will overshadow the wedding, and that's all they will be thinking about. They are making me feel guilty and like I've done the wrong thing. They all think I should have invited him. I can understand from their point of view, it would be strange as they don't know about anything. My fiancé and great aunt fully support me not wanting him there, but I still feel like an a-hole for not inviting him. Am I? Now for the top comments before reading the update. Obviously, if people are approaching you about it, your mother's been complaining. I would just let her know she can either come or stay home because her husband wasn't invited. Those are her choices. But if she keeps dragging other family into it, you will be forced to tell them exactly why you didn't invite him. Just tell her I better not be hearing from any more family members about it or we're gonna have a big problem, and I'll start explaining why. Exactly this. I will also add, it is your and fiancé's day. Period. You are the only ones who have any and all say with anything to do with your wedding and how you want to start your next chapter together. Not the a-hole and not overreacting. If it was me, I would probably start thinking about making the guest list even smaller, or even just elope and do something for the two of you. Don't live your life for others, because in the end, you are the only one who is guaranteed to spend every minute of your life by your side. I'm glad you have found a good support system and very proud of you for seeking help. Not the a-hole. I'd just tell the family that are pressuring you what you said here. That you can't imagine your abuser being a part of the happiest day of your life, as you can now openly speak about it and are strong. Also for your mom, just tell her the age-old rule. It's an invite, not a summons. She doesn't have to go if she doesn't want to, but that he will not be allowed in. And if she does show up with him, that will be the end of your relationship. If the venue has a wedding planning team or security, that if he tries to show up, he will not be allowed in and escorted off the property. Not the a-hole. You don't even owe your mother an invitation, given how she refuses to believe you. If my mother treated me that way, I'd never speak to her again. You can cut her off completely. You don't need that kind of relationship in your life. My mother was molested by an uncle as a child. She didn't tell anyone until her mid-20s, when I was 2 or so. When she told her parents, they defended her and supported her. That's what good parents do. Now for the first update. Absolutely devastated. After reading so many comments about her bad behavior and so many people saying they would be no contact and wouldn't have her at the wedding, I really took that all on board and called her. I asked her to really think about it. Think about what he did to me, how it made me feel, and ask why she thought I would want him at my wedding. I told her at this point I don't want her to attend, and told her to stop calling people and complaining about it. I told her if I get more calls or texts, or if she causes any more drama about being uninvited, I would tell the whole family what he did to me for 7 years under her roof, and how she didn't do a thing to stop him or protect me. She instantly got defensive and lost her mind at me over the phone. I told her I'm not getting into it over the phone, and she needs to respect my wishes. Now overnight, I've had almost 20 family members message me telling me they are no longer attending my wedding and that I am disgusting and a vile mentally ill girl for making up such nasty and revolting lies about mom's husband. I called my aunt, mother's sister, and when she finally agreed to talk to me, she told me my mother called her last night in tears. She was apparently beside herself. The short version was, basically, I was jealous of him and how much attention my mother gave him. I was set on ruining him as a person and was going to make up lies about him abusing me just to get my own way. I was gobsmacked. I literally sat on the phone in shock for a few minutes while she continued to tell me what my mother said. She apparently also told her the reason I left home so young was because I hated mom's husband making me do my chores. She even told her that at 15, just before I left, that I tried to seduce him to persuade him into giving me a car, and that he turned me down, which made me angry. That's why I left. I told my aunt that was simply not true. It was so far from the truth. I asked her to call and talk to my great aunt, and she can tell her what really happened. When I told her about the abuse, my aunt said she is now confused and doesn't know who to believe. I am gutted and completely embarrassed. If this is what she has told my aunt, What has she told everyone else? How do I face this? I feel like that vulnerable little girl all over again. My fiancé is a little overwhelmed with how everything is unfolding, but still been really supportive. We have decided to cancel the wedding despite having paid deposits for almost everything and elope with just his immediate family, my great-aunt, and a few close friends. You need to send one message to everyone who has declined and tell them that your mother threatened to smear you if you revealed what her husband did to you, and you can see that she did. Tell them you are sorry they were so gullible that they would believe her without talking to your great-aunt who took you in, then block them all. Don't forget to remind the ones who have young children to keep an eye on that POS so their little girls aren't his next victims. When you send a message or email to cancel, write why you are canceling. Lay out the abuse and what happened when you confronted your mom about her husband not going to your wedding. You can say anyone who has doubts can contact your great-aunt who has known truth for years. But ultimately, it's up to them to decide who to believe. Anyone who doesn't believe you doesn't need to be in your life anymore. I'm sorry you're having to go through this. It sounds like you are better off removing these toxic people from your life. The greatest insult to abusers is to forget about them and live your life happily. And tell that since the statute of limitations has not run out of child sexual abuse, that you have decided to contact the police. Whether you decide to contact the police or not, I guarantee this will shut her up forever and ever. Do it anyways. Get a text from her where you accuse her of knowing for years and ask why she did nothing. Actually, no. Start off by contacting Rain and other groups and start getting advice and legal representation. If you want, you can ask for money for lawyer fees in lieu of wedding gifts when you announce what you did instead. Second update. Crap has hit the fan big time. I've had a few family members reach out to me, and turns out he assaulted 2 of my older cousins before me, and 1 since. As awful as it sounds, and I know it sounds awful and I don't mean it that way, but I'm glad I'm not alone. Now it's not just me trying to tell my family. Our experiences are all pretty similar. We were all too scared to come forward and say anything because he threatened to hurt us and our families. We all thought we were the only one. He always said we were his special one. I know how silly it sounds now, but as a kid living with it, you believe. And as you grow up, you hope he isn't hurting others. We are in the process of talking to everyone in the family to see if he hurt anyone else. Once the family heard about the other girls coming forward, everything became clear to them. They realized my mother was lying to protect him and have rallied around us all. They have all been so apologetic for believing my mother and not seeing it sooner. My mom's husband, on the other hand, showed up at my house. I have no clue how he got my address as mother doesn't even have it. He was trying to talk/threaten me into staying quiet and not go to the police. I obviously didn't answer the door and asked him to leave. I called my partner to come home quickly, and I also called the police. He broke into my house while I was on the phone to the dispatcher and started yelling at me, hitting me, and trying to choke me. Thankfully, help arrived within about 10 minutes, and the self-defense classes I've taken helped a little bit. As scary as it all was, I feel like it's finally over. If that makes sense, he is being charged and still in lockup for breaking and entering, and assault. The 4 of us girls all made statements about the abuse, and the police are opening an investigation. What a roller coaster this week has been. Honestly, I didn't think it was possible to feel everything I'm feeling. At the start of the week, we were having a wedding, and no one really knew about the abuse. To wedding canceled and everything, thinking I'm making things up. To everything unfolding with mom's husband and my cousins. And now we have decided to go ahead with the wedding, but change it to be more about us and for us, not our families. Obviously, I know we still have a long road ahead of us, but for now it's over. Time to focus on the wedding and the people who matter most. Thank you to everyone who has left comments and advice. It's been so appreciated. I hope her mother rots in the deepest depths of hell. She deserves nothing less. It is terrifying the women who act this way. When I was in high school, my sister's friend finally spoke up about stepfather's abuse. Her mother then kicked her out, called her a liar, disowned her, and stayed with the POS. Even when years later other girls in the family spoke up, they were all liars. I just don't get it. I mean, thankfully I was never harmed, but one of my stepfathers had assaulted a sibling of his, and my mom stuck by him. I don't get it. That would be a major deal breaker for me. My mother did the same thing, stayed by her husband's side and shouted at me how I'm a liar and to get out of her face. I was never a troubled kid or lied. No reason for her not to believe me. But so many kids go through this and their parents choosing their partners. What a shame. I'm so sorry you went through this. I hope he is locked away so he cannot hurt another child. He's not. Police didn't care. People were more shocked I told about the assault than him doing it. But I'm in therapy and slowly healing. And thank you. I wish we knew if he were in prison and her mother shunned by the entire family. I hope OP a truly fabulous life. Oh, he's going to prison, breaking and entering, for the purpose of committing an assault? Gets you to big time pretty much anywhere. Depending on the jurisdiction, the choking is a substantially aggravating factor. Last story. Am I the a-hole for not helping my dad's pregnant girlfriend and telling her to get lost when she asked? My mom died 14 months ago, and things been tough since. I, 16 female, always had a great relationship with my dad before, but lately it's been pretty awful. 4 months ago, my dad brought this woman home, told me she was his girlfriend and that she was pregnant and moving in with us. This was 9 months after my mom died. I didn't really know what to say at first. He was scrambling to say stuff, but I don't really remember what he said. But when I did speak, I was bitter and I told him. I guess he found a great way to tell me he never loved my mom and was over her. I said that because he had always talked about people moving on within like 2 years of their husband or wife dying, as never really loving them, and got over them super fast. He'd say that loving someone and being ready to move on would take a much longer time. He said he saw it in family and family friends who'd been through the loss. He said the people who moved on super fast were disrespectful, especially when they had kids who had lost a parent and needed to be supported and their parents' memory preserved. So I took it really hard when Dad was admitting he'd knocked someone up 7 months after my mom died. They'd started screwing each other 5 months after Mom died, which is something I hate thinking about, but he admitted it. His girlfriend got extremely mad when I was saying that stuff to Dad about him not loving Mom. She took offense that I was focusing on that, instead of on the news of a baby and greeting her. I ignored her and kept telling my dad what I thought, and she lost it, and said I should be excited about the baby. She said Mom was dead and Dad had a right to a life after her. She said the baby didn't deserve this treatment. She moved in that day and Dad spent days trying to make me okay, and to apologize for it all happening so fast. His girlfriend didn't want me there, and said I needed to leave if I wouldn't welcome her and celebrate the baby. Dad said no, but I told him I wanted to go. He tried to fight it, but I asked him if he ever wanted a relationship with me, because if he did, it would not happen if I was forced to live with her. I moved in with my grandparents. Dad comes to see me multiple times a week. He's talked me into going to the house for dinner a couple of times, but me and his girlfriend do not like each other. She's extra bitter that Dad's so focused on making our relationship work instead of on her and the baby. The last time I saw her was a month ago, and she told me I was disgusting for not getting over myself and warming up to the baby who's coming whether I like it or not. She was also angry that I wouldn't pick something up for her when she dropped it. Last Tuesday, I got a text from her. Don't have her number, but she said who she was, telling me she needed me to go over there now because she left her key in the house and got locked outside, and she was in pain and having some bleeding and was supposed to rest. I still have a key to the house and Dad was still at work. I replied F off, and I didn't go to help her. I blocked her number too. After that, she used Dad's phone to leave a voicemail yelling at me and calling me names for leaving her outside when she's 7 months pregnant. I ignored it, and Dad told me she just waited in the car until he got home. But she texted me in the middle of the night from Dad's phone calling me a POS. My dad knows about it, and he apologized. He's still trying to make this all okay with me, but he also hopes we can all get along and be a family. Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. She has verbally attacked you from day one. You were right to move out. You were right to block her. And frankly, I realized Dad's way of getting over his grief was, checks notes, screwing a younger woman within a few months of your mom's death, knocking her up, tolerating her belligerent treatment of his grieving daughter, moving her in, and losing his daughter. It wasn't your job to help someone who has been horrifically rude to you. He sucks. She's not much younger than him, but yeah, he started sleeping with her 5 months after mom died, even after he said all that stuff. The fact that he just moved her in like that too still frustrates me. He better get used to us having a relationship outside of her if he's serious, because I want nothing to do with that woman. Tell your dad to have a DNA test done, not the a-hole. My thoughts exactly. OP, is your dad even 100% sure that the baby is his? All this extra could be for nothing. And make sure to say it in front of her.
Update. I don't like the relationship between my husband and his work wife, and neither does her partner. Original post. I'm a beautician, female 35, married to an engineer, male 34. He's very intelligent, and I'm always proud of him. He has a colleague who is also very intelligent, female 31, obviously that he is close to. Before the events that led me to this moment of seeking help online, I never had any reason to be uncomfortable about his relationship with her. I always felt secure in our relationship. We're both independent people who would just leave if we weren't happy together. We've been together for 5 years, married for 1.5. My husband and I were on a 3-day trip with my husband's colleagues, a tradition at his work every autumn. We came home yesterday morning and I had a bad taste in my mouth after this trip. It felt like me and a colleague's partner, male 35, were the third and fourth wheel to my husband and his colleague during the entire trip. During dinner the second night, I was sitting silently playing with my food after almost 2 days of being ignored. The partner was also silent at first, but we started talking a bit, asking each other generic questions. The colleague, who was in a very loud argument with my husband, more of a back and forth teasing, suddenly turned around and asked what we two, her partner and me, were up to talking quietly. Her partner said that we were just getting to know each other since they, husband and colleague, were too busy talking about things we knew nothing about. The colleague laughed and said, "What could we discuss with you? Makeup and Kim Kardashian?" And she nodded towards me. "We have more intelligent things to discuss." I was dumbfounded. I guess because I'm a beautician, I can only discuss Kim Kardashian? I mean, any outsider to any profession would be dumb listening into two people discussing work-related subjects. They could have been as ignorant if I was talking to my coworkers about our job. My husband just laughed and the partner said, "That's rude." I said nothing because I had distaste for the whole situation. Then on the last day of the trip, I spent most of my time with the partner. I ignored the other two. Yesterday evening, the partner DM'd me and wanted to talk about our significant others. He said that he has been feeling uncomfortable about his girlfriend's relationship with my husband, and that he went through her messages. He sent me screenshots where my husband and his colleague are basically calling me stupid and shallow, and laugh about it. Well, mostly the colleague saying mean things and my husband laughing and adding in. Sometimes he would say something like, "No, I love her," about me, and she would answer, "You only like banging hot dumb chicks," and they laugh. But the texts aren't about my stupidity, they're about work. And in one of them, my husband wrote, "I love your brain," to her. I started crying when I saw the screenshots. Never have I ever felt so self-conscious about my brain or profession. I love my job, and I thought my husband loved it too, or at least didn't have this disdain for it. I've been my own boss for over 10 years and I make close to 6 figures. I never thought myself as a dumb person. I like to think that I'm fairly well informed, and I have passion for history, languages, cultures, etc. But yes, I'm not an engineer working on some design for artificial hearts. Still, the texts complimenting the colleague hurts me more than the ones making fun of me. I don't know why. I think my husband and his colleague are out of line at best, and well, probably screwing. I still don't know what to do. The last thing I want to be is the insecure wife. If he isn't happy with me, why is he here? Now for the top advice before reading the update. I think his work wife is very jealous of you. She's constantly putting you down to him to make herself look and feel better. She sounds very insecure. She was very quick to notice that her husband was talking to you, so she belittled you to her husband. It's sad that her husband defended you, while yours did not. Your husband allowing this and not chiming in is disrespectful and disgusting. Also, can we just get rid of this whole work wife/work husband BS? Yes, so freaking disrespectful to both partners. I went to a colleague's party and met his live-in girlfriend. She got very drunk, and told me he had a work wife. And worse, she was here at a party. I couldn't believe he'd told his girlfriend that and then invited her to their house. I lost a lot of respect for that colleague and started to avoid him from then on. It's just a cruel way of saying you're flirting. Daily. First off, let me tell you right now that anyone who calls you names and belittles you to anyone is not worth your time. I have no knowledge whatsoever in fashion. I'm extremely unfashionable. And those that know about color coordination and creating something out of nothing is absolutely amazing to me. A genius in a way that I will never be. Even if he doesn't truly believe the words that he is saying, he's allowing someone to talk badly about you and even encouraging it. This husband of yours should definitely become ex-husband. As for your question of why he won't just leave, sometimes people want to have their cake and eat it too. It's a common expression for people who are greedy and like to overindulge. He likes to have your attention. He wants someone to come home at the end of the day that'll give him attention and validate his feelings and show him love. At the same time, he decided your attention wasn't enough because of his greed, and he found someone at his workplace to give him that. You are someone who deserves so much better. And I'm sorry that you're experiencing this. Know that no one this selfish is worth your time. Good luck. I'm always baffled when people talk crap about beauticians and hairstylists. Hairstyling is literally living sculpture. You have to know how the hair will hang in a variety of situations and style it to handle that. No way could I do it. I always tip my stylist at least 50% for that valuable and complicated skill. Same for beautician. Makeup is an art form and requires excellent color matching and mixing skills. No way I could do it. Opie, you have an incredibly valuable and difficult skill set. I'd bet the female colleague is simply jealous. You make hella good money. I'd bet you always look stylish and put together. You clearly speak at least 2 languages fluently. Your native language and English. You're a quadruple threat to her insecurities. Part of me is hesitant to say divorce, but there are 2 things that a marriage cannot survive. Disrespect and infidelity. Your husband disrespects you for certain, and I think he's having an emotional affair if not a physical one. A marriage can't survive that. This idiot has a total package with his ring on her finger. I'm guessing you took his name, and you promised him the rest of your life. He is the epitome of a fool. Unfortunately, fools only learn the hard way. I'm really sorry you're going through this. Now for the first update. Sorry I didn't come back earlier to make an update. I was mentally exhausted, and of course busy discussing Kim K. Anyway, I want to apologize for not answering your messages because I got over 200 asking for updates. I really hope you can find this. I have talked to my husband. I just told him that I have talked to work wife's boyfriend and showed him the messages I was sent. My husband asked me why her boyfriend was spying on his girlfriend, and I told him that it was because he didn't like the way things went down on the trip. I told him how I too was very uncomfortable. He was very confused and told me that work wife obviously was jealous and that I shouldn't care about her. I told him that she didn't bother me as much as the fact that he was fine. No, amused by her attempts to bring me down the entire time. So much, in fact, that her boyfriend was so uncomfortable that he went through her phone. I also asked him why he was letting her trash talk to me in their texts. Again, he insisted that he just felt that she was petty and jealous and didn't want to stoop to her level. He said that I did the same when I ignored her rudeness, and he thought that was the classy thing to do. I asked him why she was doing this. Was there anything between them? And to please tell me now before it got more complicated. He said of course not, that if there was something from her end then, that wasn't his problem, because he loved me and so on and so forth. I asked him about him loving her brain, and he said it was strictly about something work-related and offered to show me the conversation. Next day, I was still brooding, so he came to me, kissed me and apologized and told me that I was right, and that he was being stupid, but that he never thought about it as disrespect but some female jealousy that he thought was pitiful and beneath him. He promised to do better. I told him that if somebody was trashing you like this in front of me, no matter how petty their reasons were or how pathetic I thought they were, I would have hated them and never want them in my life. Unfortunately, I started crying then, and he told me that he was so sorry. That was on Sunday. Then yesterday, the boyfriend called me again and we talked. We had decided to talk after confronting our significant others. Their conversation was worse, and work wife admitted to her boyfriend that she had feelings for my husband, and she suspected that my husband had feelings for her too. They have kissed at the summer work party. I showed my husband a screenshot when he got home, and he started to freak out, telling me that yes, she did kiss him, and he rebuffed her and told her that he wasn't interested. That was when she got nastier towards me. So you knew she had a thing for you? And he said yes. I asked him to show me his phone, and he had deleted his conversation with her. He said it was because he was embarrassed. He didn't tell me when the kiss happened, and now he was afraid I would think it was more than what it was. I asked him to move out, and he's currently at his mother's. He keeps saying that there's nothing between them, that he loves me and would never cheat on me, that he will make her come clean to me, that he will quit his job and never see her again. I'm just so broken-hearted right now, and all I want to do is cry. Thank you for listening. I needed this. Edit, maybe I should have mentioned that he also told me he could prove that it was she who came onto him, because it happened in the office cafeteria, and there are surveillance cameras, and that he could request a clip from that day. I don't know why I didn't include it. Maybe because who kissed who doesn't really change how I feel about this whole ordeal. Why did he have to wait? If he had told you when it happened, the situation would have been so much better. But the fact that he didn't tell you, and then he watched her speak to you in a derogatory way, and didn't defend you, which is not stooping to her level by the way, that makes this worse. Because what part of this is the truth? It's hard to see that. And she might be correct in that he has feelings for her and just didn't want to act on it, but I just don't know at this point. But this could all been avoided if he communicated what happened when it happened and not finding out through the boyfriend. Because if you think about this way, if she had never said anything to boyfriend, you would have never known because your husband didn't say anything. Yeah, the whole I didn't tell you because I thought it would make you think it was more than it was? No. Hiding the truth makes it look like more is going on, and I'm sure that there is. Even if we all were to believe that he rebuffed her, why then would you even want to continue to be friends with someone who has clear feelings and is verbally attacking your wife in private and to her face? He didn't tell her because OP probably would have set some hard boundaries around their relationship going forward. He wanted to keep his little work side piece. OP, I'm sorry this happened. You deserve a man who is loyal and supportive of you even when you're not there. I asked him to show me his phone and he had deleted his conversation with her. I'm sorry, but he is lying. If he had told her to back off, he wouldn't have felt the need to delete his conversation with her. Look up Trickle Truth. If they've had the opportunity to be alone, then they've mostly certainly gone further. Let's say he is telling the truth. It is unlikely that he is. It's still on him. Her advances weren't unwanted. He gave her the green light when he exchanged text with her mocking you. Infidelity doesn't begin with physical interaction. I have more respect for her right now for coming clean to her boyfriend. My husband hasn't admitted to anything I didn't know already. Somebody else is telling me. Honestly, this is a good comment. I don't believe him. Anytime anyone's come on to my boyfriend, he's shut it down. Anytime anyone's insulted me to him, he's shut it down. In both instances, he stopped interacting with those people. I really think that that's what he should have done. But also, he literally went on a trip with a woman who had kissed him and admitted feelings to him on your anniversary. Now for the last update. Hi, I don't feel comfortable making a new update on a true sub because honestly, I'm embarrassed that I'm taking so much of your attention. Writing, however, has helped me a lot, like his therapy. My husband showed up at my work today. He said that he has never felt so scared in his life, like when he realized that he was losing me. He has contacted a boyfriend, apologized to him, and asked him to forward all the texts between him and work wife. He printed them and gave me everything. Over a year's worth of texting. He told me when work wife confessed to her boyfriend, she sent a text about admitting the kiss to her boyfriend. The text I got a screenshot of. My husband panicked and deleted the whole conversation. But now he got everything from the boyfriend and I could read it. He also had brought a picture with him. Of him when he was young, 12 to 13-ish with a girl. He said he searched this picture now that he's living with his mom. He told me that it was his favorite cousin and that she ended herself when they were 16. She was bullied severely. I never heard my husband talk about this cousin. I know of her mom from his family, but never that they were close or that her death devastated him. He said that he still wasn't ready to discuss her, but that now he needed to. He admitted that when work wife started working for them August 2021, he immediately bonded with her because she reminded him of his cousin. Both goofy, funny, and extremely intelligent. They even looked alike a little. Kind of true. The bond got stronger when work wife told him about her tough childhood and how she was bullied throughout school, how she suffered and contemplated ending it all. My husband said that he felt like he got his cousin back. Work wife knew that my husband was married, newlywed actually, and it didn't seem to be a problem for her in the beginning. He admitted that he sensed that she was falling for him very soon, but that he never really confronted her about it because he didn't want to hurt her feelings. When she saw me in the picture, she got very angry with him and said that she was very disappointed in him because I looked the type that would bully people like her and my husband in high school. She was disappointed and asked him what he saw in me. He told her that he loved me, but she was sour afterwards, accusing him of being shallow. He asked her to give me a chance at a Christmas party. She didn't change her opinion, however. He wasn't bothered that she disliked me because he thought that she was just jealous. He knew that she was decided on not giving me a chance, and that was fine with him. He thought that this will be one of the things they will have to disagree on. He is still adamant that he never kissed her back, and he's adamant about getting the recording of that party. He said he pushed her, and after the party, he had a fight with her about boundaries and confronted her about her feelings. He told her that they could no longer be friends now that she had crossed the line. We went on a 5-week vacation the day after that party, and he said that if I read a text from that time, I would find that she had apologized several times asking for forgiveness, begging him not to ditch her as a friend. After summer, their relationship was strained, but they eventually became closer again. He said he doesn't know why he felt like she needed him in her life, like he needed his protection. He always thought about being put in harm's way, and he couldn't stand the thought. He swore it was never romantic or sexual. He admitted that he loves her like a friend or like if his cousin was still around. Then he told me that he has handed his resignation and will be seeking new jobs. He's realized that he has to let work wife go. He admitted that he even now is worried about her. She's losing both her boyfriend and him, but that he needs to remind himself that she is a grown-up woman and not a 16-year-old cousin. She'll be fine. And about my fears that he loves me for how I look, he said that he is sorry if he ever made me feel that way and that it is far from the truth. When he thinks about us, he sees us growing old together, and that prospect fills his heart with more love and joy. Another round of, there would never have been a problem if you had been transparent with your partner when the first line was crossed. That's it, isn't it? She confronted him, told him to tell her absolutely everything, and he still lied by omission. Absolute dumbass. This makes me so angry. That was a massive screw-up. Huge. My significant other is also an engineer, and he's a superstar with circuit boards or coding a piece of software, and reads physics textbooks for fun. But with people, not so much, which is why we have an agreement where he runs things by me when he's not sure of someone's behavior/motives. Has kept our relationship healthy, our boundaries clear, and enforced and saved him from being inadvertently caught in some splatter when I, correctly, said someone's behavior was making my spidey senses tingle. I can't help but wonder if Opie's husband let this nonsense fly for so long because he enjoyed the attention too much to stop it. My significant other might not be great at picking up social cues, but he'd never let someone trash talk me, and would be out the room and on his way home to talk to me if someone tried to kiss him. You'd only hide something like that if you knew it would reveal that you'd hidden a dozen smaller screw-ups leading up to it. She reminds me of my dead cousin is certainly the most original excuse for infidelity I've heard to date.
Update. Would I be the a-hole if I didn't report my coworker to HR? Original post. I, 29 female, am working in IT within a team of over 10 men and one woman coworker, Sandy. Sandy and I sit near each other in our office and we speak during the day, but never too much in detail or about personal stuff. I don't speak about my husband all day, but it is definitely no secret that I am married. Normally I take my lunch outside of the office, but today Sandy asked if I would like to have lunch with her at a local place. We had lunch and we spoke about the usual stuff like work, vacations, and so on. When we came back to the office, I told her I was going to the bathroom to freshen up. I am wearing braces, so after each meal I have to take care of that, and she said she was coming too. I don't know how things degenerated from her, speaking about getting a haircut and me swishing water, but as soon as I finished, she took my face and kissed me on the lips. This took me greatly by surprise, and I took a step back and asked her what she was doing. She was immediately apologetic and said she must have understood things wrong. I told her I am married. She kept saying sorry and left the bathroom. We did not have an argument, but the rest of the day was really awkward. I had no idea she liked women. Also, I have no idea how she got the impression that I like women. Anyway, after I got home, I told my husband because I wanted to know if I give off the vibe that I like women. He told me I need to report this to HR. He did not get angry or anything, but he said this is unacceptable to happen at work. To be honest, I believe her that it was a misunderstanding, and I trust that she understood my message clearly. My husband thinks that this should be reported regardless. I don't want to cause issues. Would I be the a-hole if I did not report Sandy to HR? Now for the top comments before reading the update. In my experience, it's best to get things documented correctly and immediately. There are so many ways things can come back to you if not documented. What if she decides to get ahead of it and say it was you that was forward? What if someone else came forward and somehow knew that she had done this to you too? It's just best to have that conversation to cover your behind. OP is worried about giving off the wrong vibes. When it's consent, she should be reporting. Coworker made a physical pass at her without her consent. And yes, coworker was already going for the I misunderstood excuse. You would not be the a-hole, since it is your choice. Her conduct was extremely inappropriate and unprofessional though. I have to wonder if there have been other misunderstandings. This is the thing. I never paid specific attention to her behavior in the past. Usually at work we all speak of pets, have the occasional verbal tantrum over work stuff, and discuss the music we have on the radio. Spouses are rarely mentioned unless one of the guys asks about gift or vacation ideas. My husband's opinion is that this was her attempt at a date. Not the a-hole. If I were you, I would not report right away. Maybe it was a misunderstanding and she got the message. Sometimes you need to give people the benefit of the doubt. If she alludes to certain things, flirts, or God forbid tries something physical again, I would immediately report. But you are married and sometimes compromises are important. Have another conversation with him and see if you can come to a conclusion. She kept working and did not say a word afterwards. She truly seemed embarrassed to me. However, my husband's argument was that if it was a man who made this kind of move, he would not get the benefit of the doubt. Now for the update a month later. So I reported my colleague to HR. After my husband kept telling me if it was the other way around I would report it, I did it. I told HR that I don't want any investigation or to hurt her in any way. I just want it to be on record that it happened. HR assured me no further action would be taken unless I wanted it, and it would be kept anonymous. I felt so bad for doing it. I thought I made a big mistake by reporting a misunderstanding. My colleague missed work the next couple of days, and when she came back, she was visibly changed, very annoyed. Since we still sit next to each other in the office, I behave normally and we don't speak about that day. Today she scoffed when a colleague from a different department passed by. I looked at her out of the corner of my eye, but she saw it, and she leaned over to me and probably felt like it was a good time to dish some tea. She told me she had been called to HR and given a lecture about workplace harassment and has a couple of in-person courses on this. I honestly froze at that moment. Sandy then proceeded to tell me that the coworker who had just passed by must have reported her because they were flirting and she made some jokes that might not have landed well with that colleague. I was there looking at her like an idiot, not knowing what to say, while she went on a rant about how this place is so against LGBTQ people, and you can't make a joke or flirt without someone taking offense. She told me she is just trying to find people to have fun with and encourage them to explore their options. She even gave me as an example. I tried to help you as well, but for sure you weren't ready for it. I did not say a word and just looked at her for a second before going back to my work. I felt like an idiot. I really thought she made a mistake by kissing me and defended her so much to my husband, saying that it was a simple misunderstanding and she felt so embarrassed. Now I know I was one of the people she tries to help explore. I don't know what to do with this information. I still believe misunderstandings can happen, but I don't feel that bad for reporting her anymore. My husband was right. You guys were right. At first, it might have felt like a gray area, but now it's clear she has a history and intention that goes beyond a harmless mistake. Reporting her was the right move to protect yourself and your work environment. If it was a man, you for sure would tell them he should be jailed for assault limau. You would be the a-hole if you don't go back to HR and update them. You need to let them know that she admitted to you that what she did was not an accident or an innocent misunderstanding. They need to know that she is deliberately sexually harassing or assaulting fellow employees in an attempt to force them to change their sexual identity. I fully agree with you, and I am going to HR tomorrow to update them. I feel like an idiot for believing her when she was apologetic and embarrassed. Nope, she's the a-hole. She's weaponizing an identity group and using it as a free card to behave however she wants. Remember that Family Guy piece where the bartender asks the trans woman to stop watching porn at the bar, and the TW replies, "I'm trans," to which the bartender says, "Oh, well, in that case, do whatever you want." That was commentary on people like your coworker. She is cancerous, and I'm sorry you have to deal with her. She sounds like someone who is going to cry phobia or ism anytime someone speaks up against her bad behavior. You did the right thing by reporting her. Next story. Am I the a-hole for sending my brother-in-law a message telling him never to contact me again? Hi guys, this is a long one, so buckle up. I, female 32, have been with my now husband, 33, for 7 years. About 4 years ago, his mother got remarried. For context, she's volatile, has been abusive in the past, and doesn't have a healthy relationship with alcohol. At her wedding, my husband's eldest brother, male 46, got extremely drunk. He doesn't usually drink, and I'd always had a fairly positive relationship with him until then. That night, things got really uncomfortable. He was being overly touchy with me and another guest. Later on, he was having a drunken emotional moment and unloaded a lot of family trauma on me. I didn't mind listening, but then he grabbed my hand, pulled me onto his knee, hugged me, and then suddenly kissed me full on the mouth with his tongue. I jumped up, shocked, and tried to brush it off. His new stepdad walked in, and I used that as a distraction. But my brother-in-law grabbed my hand, dragged me down a corridor, pushed me against a wall, not hard but intimidating, and told me, "You can't tell my brother." I was terrified. I managed to run away to my room where my husband was. I told him immediately. He wanted to confront him, but I begged him not to ruin his mom's wedding and said to wait until the morning. The next day, his sisters told him to apologize. He blamed it on the drink, said, "This is why I don't drink," and left. He has never taken accountability. Over the years, my husband has tried to encourage him to acknowledge what happened, but brother-in-law just laughs it off. Fast forward 4 years, we moved overseas, and I thought I could just avoid him. But we recently moved back home, and out of nowhere, he texted me on my birthday. I don't know how he got my new number, but it wasn't through my husband. I've been silent for 4 years, but this time I had enough. I didn't want him ruining my birthday, and I decided to speak up for myself instead of expecting my husband to deal with it. I texted him saying I wasn't aware he had my new number. I need to be absolutely clear. I do not want you to contact me. My husband has told you before, more than once, that I don't want contact, but that hasn't been respected. Let me make it plain. There will be no contact now or ever. Please don't assume that just because we've moved back home, this changes anything. It doesn't. I screenshotted my text and sent it to my husband. Now his mother is furious with me. She says she doesn't believe what I have accused him of, that her son would never do that, and that the text I sent was disgusting, despite his own sister calling him a predator and him having a history of stories of behaving like a tit drunk. I know this will likely mean my husband eventually cuts ties with his family, and I expected backlash. But after 4 years of silence, I felt I couldn't keep letting it slide. So, am I the a-hole for finally sending that message? Tell your mother-in-law to ask her husband what he walked in on at their wedding. That ought to shut her up. And block brother-in-law on your phone and all social media. She won't care and will likely blame you, not her son who would never do that. Just tell mother-in-law that you know what happened and won't pretend for anyone, including her. Then block them all, except maybe sister-in-law. She seems to know what's up. Sister-in-law took back the comment, said, "I wouldn't have said that if I'd known you were sitting on his knee. That's a boundary I have in my marriage, to not sit on other blokes' knees." You need to consider getting a restraining order against your brother-in-law. He has repeatedly shown that he doesn't respect your boundaries. Please take steps to protect yourself. Install security cameras, change the locks, and make sure your husband does not share your address or whereabouts with any family members. block him everywhere for your safety. Forcing you to kiss him, threatening you, shaming you, and gaslighting you are violations. This is not just inappropriate, it's abusive. He has already been aggressive toward you, and it's very likely he will try again. Protect yourself now before it escalates further. A restraining order wouldn't hold up where I am from. I am with you on the camera front. We are moving and not sharing our new address with family. I do not feel safe. The whole family have been abusive to me. Thank you so much for taking me seriously and allowing me to see all of this. It's hard to see when you're being forced into a narrative where you are the problem. Mini update. They cut us off and said I am behaving like he violated me and the punishment doesn't fit the crime of me wanting to not speak to him. They don't believe me. Thanks to everyone for being kind to me. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to cover my co-worker's shift after she left me hanging last week? I work at a small coffee shop with a staff of about 10 people. We are usually flexible with each other about swapping shifts because life happens and things come up. Most of the time it works out smoothly, and I have never had any major issues with anyone on the team. Last week I had a family emergency and I asked my co-worker Mary if she could cover for me. She said yes, and I thought everything was settled. I even texted her the morning of to remind her, and she responded with, "No problem." When my shift came around, she never showed up. She later claimed she forgot, but the end result was that the cafe was short-staffed. Customers were waiting too long, and my manager had to step in to cover. I ended up getting spoken to about being more responsible, even though I thought I had done the right thing by arranging coverage. This week, Mary texted me asking if I could cover one of her evening shifts. She said she had plans she could not cancel, and she really needed someone to step in. I told her no. I reminded her that she had bailed on me the week before and left me to deal with the fallout. She immediately got defensive and accused me of being petty and not a team player. Another coworker overheard and told me I should have just covered the shift anyway, because when one of us refuses to help, it makes things harder for the entire team. That made me stop and think, because I really do not want to make life harder for my other coworkers or the manager. At the same time, I feel like if I just cover for her, it sends the message that she can take advantage of me and there will be no consequences. I am torn between feeling like I stood up for myself and worrying that maybe I am punishing the wrong people, since my refusal might put more stress on the rest of the staff. Am I the a-hole for refusing to cover her shift after she did not show up for mine? Not the a-hole. When you got coverage, did you also notify your manager? If so, they messed up going after you. As for coverage, honestly, that is also a manager's job, though the new wave of them pushing it to the employees is odd. In my state, they don't give out your numbers to other employees by law. As for you denying the shift, anyone else can take it if they want it. No is a complete sentence, and circumstances pushed you into a harder no. Exactly this, OP. The manager dropped the ball here. You did your part when you found coverage, and it's not on you to babysit another adult who can't follow through. Saying no after how she treated your shift was more than fair. Not the a-hole. There's a difference between saying no and saying yes but not showing up. And then she let you take the blame because she didn't bother showing up for the shift. There's also a difference between you having an emergency and her making plans when she has a shift. If she actually had plans, why didn't she let management know before the current roster? You're not covering for her because she's shown that she can't be trusted. And since when has the pendulum swung so far that people make plans on work days? Go to work and make plans for your days off. Work should always come before plans, as that's what's paying for your plans. Last story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to give my friend a ride because she always makes me late? So I, 28 female, carpool sometimes with my friend Lisa, 29 female. We work at the same company but in different departments. Originally, it was just a favor here and there, but lately she started acting like it's my duty to drive her every morning. The problem is that she's never ready on time. I'll text her that I'm outside and then sit there for 15 to 20 minutes while she finishes getting ready. I've tried leaving later. I've tried telling her I need to go early. It doesn't matter. She always keeps me waiting. On top of that, she's never once pitched in for gas. I don't expect a ton, But I feel like if someone's driving you every day, tossing them a couple of bucks here and there is just common courtesy. Instead, she'll complain about how expensive gas is for her, while I'm the one filling up my tank every week. Last week, I had a really important meeting with my boss. I told Lisa the night before that I couldn't be late. Sure enough, I get there, and she says she'll be out in 2 minutes, and 15 minutes later, she comes running out. By the time I parked at work, I had to sprint across the building and walked into the meeting sweaty and out of breath. I wasn't late, but it wasn't a good look. So yesterday, when she texted me asking if I'm still giving her a ride tomorrow, I said that I can't keep waiting around every morning and that she'll need to figure out her own ride. She blew up at me, saying I was being dramatic and selfish, that it was only a few minutes, and I should be more understanding since gas is too expensive for her right now. I understand she's going through a rough patch, but honestly, I feel like my time and gas money are worth something too. I don't think it's fair that she treats me like her personal Uber driver. So am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole, but honestly, why didn't you leave on time regardless of whether she's come out or not? I know that feels like a big step that would leave her hustling, but that's the natural consequence she needs. You've taught her it doesn't matter whether she's on time or not. You've quietly accepted her BS and have now drawn a perfectly reasonable line. But you need to take a bit of ownership about how severe this got, because you never chose to just leave on time. And it sounds like tardy coworker has a car. She's got away there. Everyone sucks here. They suck because of the reasons mentioned. You suck as you allowed all of this to happen. You say, I absolutely must be on time, and then you wait. There are no repercussions if she's late. You simply wait. I would message from 5 minutes away saying, be there in 5. Wait 1 minute and then I'm gone. Even if they message, be there in 2. You reply, fine. If you're out the door in 2 minutes, I'm gone. After 2 minutes, send message, sorry, couldn't wait any longer. You also let it become every day without gas money. You could ask. You can say no. Heck, you had an important meeting. I would have said, I have a big meeting tomorrow and I'm heading in early. You'll need to find your own way to work. That's it. Find your spine. Yeah, this is 100% on OP for letting this happen at all. She said out in 2 minutes. You freaking leave after 2 minutes. First time you even did this and she didn't show up on time? You should have been on your way to work.